Hey, you guys, remember the last video we had? We were talking about demographics in foiling. We were talking about pros only advertising, and guys like us, up 40 guys and mid 50 guys like us, weekend foilers. What are we gonna look at? And I just found the right guy to talk about and to talk to. We have Lucha here. Lucha is an ex-windsurfer. He was in the Chilean national team. He was a kite surfer. He subfoiled, he windsurfed, so he's all over like a good water sportsman. And now he's getting into foiling. And now we're gonna find out his path to foiling. And thank you for your time, Lucho. Tell us real quick, just so real quick, your past in windsurfing and all of that, your background.
Yeah, so I started windsurfing when I was 8 years old. I'm 54 now, so this has been a long time. And I grew up with the sport. That was the beginning of the sport. I grew up with the sport. I went from big boards on lakes, so very much like European style. And then I transitioned to wave riding later in life. I still windsurf randomly, very randomly. I picked up kiteboarding at the very beginning of kiteboarding also. That was a super fun sport, and I did that for 20 years, and then I had kids. But then winging came up, and winging was like a perfect transition from windsurfing and kite surfing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a mix. Maybe 5-6 years ago, like stand-up paddle foiling first, and that was very hard. I had a really hard time. I hurt myself, and it was very humbling because I thought of myself as a waterman. And then I switched to prone foiling, which is surfing with a foil. And that I did a little better, but it basically took me away from my kids, and I really wanted to spend time with my kids. So I kind of like put it to the side, and I was also waiting for equipment to get better and more affordable. It was really expensive.
And that's right the point we want to jump into, the affordability and find the right equipment. So you want to start foiling, and now let's look at the equipment real quick that you have. And you have this from a friend, right? You didn't buy this. So that's the first thing. Most guys that start foiling, you're gonna kind of find a friend that has something you can try with.
Exactly. So yeah, I got this F1 board, which is 120 liters. I weigh like 90 kilos or 205 pounds.
Yeah.
So I needed something that can float me. I tried different boards before. I tried smaller boards, I tried bigger boards, I tried different foils, but finally I landed this board from a friend of mine that he was progressing, and he wanted to get something smaller. So that's the way here in Hawaii to like get a good board at the beginning, because most likely if once I get really into this, 6 months and I will want to have something smaller and better. But for the beginning, to get my hours in the water and get foiling and getting used to the equipment, 120 liters or even bigger, even 130. Basically you want to get a board that floats you.
Yes,
that
yes.
You can be out there.
Absolutely.
And you can just grab the sail standing up or on your knees and lift it up, and not have to do like a water start, or not have to do like a start like halfway synced.
Yes, yeah.
That was for me what I wanted, especially at my age, 55, with my knees from an ex-windsurfer. They're all beat up. I don't want to be on my knees out there. I try to avoid being on my knees.
Totally. And he floats you when the wind dies, and you can learn on it. And then the same thing kind of like with the front foil. We're going to look at this here real quick. So you want to start with something big, something stable, something that gets you out of the water easy. And this looks like something in the 1800 range.
It's a 1780, and I really like the shape of it. It's more flat. It doesn't have so much curvature, and I'm not very technical about this stuff. I just like how it feels. But this compares to other foils I tried before that were more curved. This lifts up a lot easier, and for me is get up. Once you're up, you're flying on a wing. Is a lot easier than stand-up foiling or prone foiling, because you're leaning back. And because my background is windsurfing, it feels very natural, and it's very easy actually with this kind of wing. It's easy.
And how was your first time? So you went out, you're a windsurfer, and how did it feel? How was your first impression when you went out on this gear sailing around?
It was easy for me. I mean, humbling too, but much easier than not having a wing on my hands. The wing, the motions is very similar to windsurfing. I have a very natural understanding of the wind. So I'd rather have something attached to my board at the beginning. This is not attached, so that's a little different, but not too hard. And I can see that with time, once I get better and I can start riding waves, it's nice that the sail is not attached to your board. I done windsurfing foiling too, so I know how that feels, and windsurfing foiling feels super fun, but I would not want to ride waves on a windsurfing foil. I want to race. With this, I want to ride waves eventually.
That is so funny. So like, there you have it. You know how to windsurf. You can do this rather fast because you understand the wing, you know how to sheet in your sail, you're sailing upwind, no problem. But then once you let go of the wing, you're kind of like, oh, now it's kind of different, because now you're kind of like on your own without the counterbalance of the wing, and it becomes this new animal. But that's why so many windsurfers, I think, really enjoy this new kind of sensation of sailing in the wind.
Yeah, a new challenge. And one thing I noticed too, that it's very easy to pick it up, very easy to go upwind because you're leaning back. But as soon as you turn around and you want to come downwind, now you're taking wind out of the sail, you're sending up more straight on top of your foil, and now it becomes more challenging. So yeah, it takes practice, but it's a lot easier than foiling without anything. And hey, it makes sailing again fun. You can go out in a lake with like 10 knots, 12 knots, and you're having fun. And yeah, new challenge, and just the sensation of floating and not having any noise.
Very cool.
Is amazing.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much, Lucho, for your insight. That is super cool. And of course, we're looking forward to progress with you and sail and go more out in the bumps and in the waves. And we'll see you guys, guess where? In the next
water.
video and in the water. Woo.